Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, our Candidates in Conversation continues with Nick Mansour, the Democratic candidate for state treasurer. And also tonight, the impact of the U.S. debt hitting a new all-time high of $40 trillion. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Our series Candidates in Conversation continues tonight with a focus on the Office of State Treasurer, which is responsible for the banking and investment duties for the state, along with management of Arizona's permanent land endowment. Nick Mansour is a Democratic candidate for treasurer. He's an entrepreneur and former chairman of the Arizona College of Nursing. We should note that the Republican candidate, Elijah Norton, declined our invitation to participate in tonight's discussion. Nick Mansour, good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. What qualifies you to be state treasurer?
Yeah, thank you for having me on. The basic thing the treasurer's office does is invest our money. And at Arizona College of Nursing, I managed hundreds of millions of dollars. I managed over 1,500 employees. Our students there, our graduates there performed very well. In some years, we actually were the highest performing nursing school in the country, or the state rather. And so I know about managing money, I know about managing people and leading an organization like this.
The duties of the office,
Yes.
What do you see as the primary responsibilities?
Well, the main thing is managing our money. And there's about $20 billion that's in our $22 billion that are for our day-to-day cash operating needs. But the big thing that I'm really focused on is we have an $11 billion fund. It's for the benefit of education. We're not investing it well today. And if we did what other states that have a similar fund like this do, we would make hundreds of millions of dollars more every year. So that's the main thing I'm focused on.
Yeah, I want to get to that in a second here, Prop 123. But as far as the state treasurer advocating for and against political positions, where do you stand on that?
It's very clear. I do not believe we should be injecting partisan, non-financial criteria into how we make our investments. So that is one actual difference in this race. When we do that, it just means that we're going to have riskier investments and higher taxes, and that's the opposite of what I'm trying to make happen.
So primarily an administrative position is how you see this.
I think it's best run as a non-partisan position. Having said that, it is our chief financial officer. The treasurer should be advocating for policies, and I intend to do that as well.
Okay, you intend to do that, but not as the first order of business.
I think the first order of business, you got to make sure that our money is invested well and doing a good job for us.
What should that investment strategy look like?
Well, the right order is safety, liquidity, and then yield. And that's how we've been focused for many years and how I want us to remain focused.
So you would say more cautious than aggressive?
I would say more cautious than aggressive, but also fiscally responsible. And we want to make sure we're investing our money smartly and wisely because we want to get as much as we can as long as we're getting safety first and liquidity second.
What do you think about cryptocurrencies, investing in cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, we're not doing that today. I think that's the right policy. I'm not advocating that we do something different. There have been bills floated about doing something like that, and it's certainly worth looking at, but today we're not doing it. I think that's the right thing.
Okay, so you'll continue that policy. The governor actually vetoed a bill citing volatility in the cryptocurrency market. You agree with that?
Yes, I do, yes.
All right. Would you have the state invest in firms, in banks, businesses, what have you, that disagree with you politically?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's what I'm saying. We don't necessarily want non-financial criteria affecting who we're doing business with and how we're investing the money. And that is a big point of difference. My opponent does want to do that sort of thing, and it ultimately means riskier investments and us earning less and therefore having higher taxes.
So your moral outlook would not affect your investment strategy?
I am absolutely correct. I am absolutely committed that we want this office to be nonpartisan, to remain nonpartisan. That is a big difference in this race.
All right. Prop 123,
yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, today, again, you're talking about the Education Endowment Fund.
Yes.
And we're not investing it well, but
why are we not investing it well?
We are, if you look at what other states are doing, Our mix between bonds and public stock index funds is we're over allocated to bonds today, and we should be doing more on the public index side. So that's what I would like to see change. And there's actually 10 other states that do this. It's a mix of red and blue states. There's bipartisan agreement not to invest the way we're investing. If we just copy those other states, these are states like Texas, Wyoming, Utah, we'd be doing a better job, and it would be safe and fiscally responsible at the same time.
It was interesting you say, bonds more than the market. I mean, you said you were also cautious more than aggressive. Some would say that those two don't square.
Well, I think there is two things here, and you can be both. One is, do you want to be safe? And the other is, do you want to be fiscally responsible? And I want to be both. And you can be safe and fiscally irresponsible by not doing the right thing. And this fund that we're talking about is a long-term fund. We're holding this money in perpetuity for the benefit of our kids and our grandkids, and we should invest it appropriately, and we're not doing that today.
That's investment. What about distribution? Is it wise to increase the annual distribution from something like a state land trust?
Yes, I think it is wise for us to do more than we're doing today. And today, we're distributing about 2.5% of the fund every year. Most endowment funds are someplace closer to 5%. Our legislature and our governor agree that they would like to take it to 6.9%, but they haven't figured out exactly how to do that. And I think that's about as high as you could go, and it only really depends on if you have certain safeguards in place. But we can certainly be above where we are today.
The current treasurer thinks that 4%, 4 to 4.9% is the industry norm. She wouldn't want to see us go much higher than that. As you mentioned, the latest thing out of the legislature that never really got traction, but still, they were going 6.9%. We were hearing 8% at one time. I mean, is this being fiscally responsible with the public's money?
We want to protect this for the long term. And so you don't want to eat into how much money we have over time. I think you can get above 5%. Again, you have to have safeguards in place that make sure we're taking into account inflation and that the fund continues to grow even despite the disbursements.
You mentioned inflation, market volatility. These are things that have to be considered when you're taking money out of this trust. I mean, how much do you consider that, especially when it comes to distribution?
Oh, I mean, you have to be considering that. I mean, we all are experiencing what happens when when inflation goes up. And like I said, we want this fund to continue to grow on an after inflation basis for as long as we're going to hold it, which is forever.
A past treasurer said that doing what Prop 123 does violates the prudent investor rule. You disagree with that?
It depends on how far you go, and at 4 to 5%, not at all. 6.9% is as much as you could go.
His idea was you shouldn't dip into the principal of a fund like this.
Oh, I do think that's one of the safeguards. You don't want to dip into the principal of the fund. So the fund has to earn more than whatever you're going to distribute on a yearly basis.
And for those who say this is money, the public money, it's there to manage. It's not there to give out, especially at 4, 6, sometimes 8% ranges. Do they have a point?
I think they have a point up to a point. This is a fund that is for the benefit of education primarily, and we should be investing it both for the long term and for our students today. And so it is a balancing act. And we don't want to go too far on one side or the other, so they have a point, but we need to be dispersing the right amount today. And as you know, we are among the lowest states when it comes to funding our education. This is a way to fund education without anybody paying any more taxes, and we should be using it wisely. Today, we're not.
Do you think that voters should choose a state treasurer? You've already said it's more administrative than anything. The politics shouldn't play a part in this. Do you think this should be something appointed by a governor as opposed to voted by citizens?
Well, I think the fact is in our Constitution, it is a constitutional office. And so what you're talking about would require a change. I do think it's important that the treasurer try to be nonpartisan. And I do think it's important that we have somebody we can trust. And there are real concerns about my opponent when it comes to trust.
Last questions here regarding your opponent. He's not here. He declined to participate here. But your biggest concern, so someone watching this goes, I don't know who Nick Mansour, I don't know who the other guy is either.
Yeah.
Why should they vote for you?
Well, I do think trust is a real issue in this election. And I have over 100 business leaders from around the state who've endorsed me. We have Democrats, Independents, Republicans who've endorsed our campaign. I grew up here. You can talk to lots of friends around the state and they'll tell you I'm somebody you can trust. On the other hand, Elijah Norton has made his money selling used car warranties. And we know of over 100 lawsuits between his companies and their customers. And they are alleging things like selling elderly adults used car warranties for cars they don't have, denying claims, failing to reimburse, deceptive marketing practices. Here's the point. It's not hard to have somebody sue you, but when it happens again and again and again, at some point you have to wonder, is this really somebody we want safeguarding our money?
Arizona College of Nursing has had some problems along the way as well. Is that something that also you need to respond to?
Well, I'm very proud of what we do at Arizona College of Nursing. We have helped thousands of people become nurses. And during my time there, over 90% of our graduates passed the state licensing exam on the first try. Some years, we were the best performing nursing school in the state. Did we always, were we 100% perfect? No. Were there issues? Yes. Did we try to resolve those? Sure. But the difference is the quantity. And on the other side, we're talking about hundreds of lawsuits, including some that are continuing to go on today. It's a pattern, and that should be concerning.
Nick Mansour, Arizona State Treasurer candidate, Democrat. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ted.
Next time.
Wonder whose calls you're hiding.
Wondering what business it is of yours.
A woman is found dead at a local theater.
She literally had the breath squeezed out of her.
The victim was unhappy about an upcoming drag show.
You clearly didn't like Miss Springfield.
When you dress like I do, you learn not to expect a warm welcome.
And the crime scene is a puzzle.
Why would the killer dress her up as a drag queen?
Midsummer Murders.
Thursday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
I'm looking for Miss Fisher.
What's your problem?
My brother's gone missing.
I want you to prepare yourself, Patty.
Someone meant business.
All right, spill the beans.
It's important you tell us exactly where you were last night.
Was he?
Can anyone verify that? If anyone knows anything, it would be better to tell it to me now, before the police find out. Someone is targeting the boys, Patty. Who do you think would have done it?
Saturday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
On Masterpiece.
I would like to think of myself as more than a friend.
My mother thinks this is the place to meet the right people.
Would I fall into that category?
A matter has come to my attention. I'm not quite sure how to manage it. Why have you come?
Honestly, I don't know.
No one need know. It would be catastrophic.
The Forsyths. On Masterpiece.
Sunday night at 10 on Arizona PBS.
The U.S. national debt recently surpassed the $40 trillion mark for the first time, with increasing borrowing costs paying for, among other things, the ongoing war in Iran and tax cuts enacted in 2025. Here to help break down what this all means is ASU economist Dale Rogers. All right, good to see you again, by the way.
Good to see you.
Thanks for being here. And what does it all mean? $40 trillion here, $10 trillion.
It's like what Everett Dirksen said back, an old senator from Illinois. He was the minority leader in the Senate. He said, a billion here, a billion there. Pretty soon it adds up, and that's when a billion was a lot of money. It is a magic number, especially when a lot of us thought 10 years ago when we hit 20 trillion. I mean, in the last 10 years, Trump, we've doubled this crazy out of control debt from all of the U.S.'s history.
Let's stick with the latest version of Trump. He promised to reduce the debt burden from day one into office. Why hasn't that happened?
Well, the big beautiful bill, the tax cuts, and we actually increased spending at the same time decreasing revenues. And to be fair, there's a whole bunch of the federal budget that there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Nearly 70% of it are entitlements. Eventually, we're going to have to address those. But the war and the tariffs. Remember 2019 when the bond market, and you know, the bond market's cold-blooded, Ted. I mean, you know, the stock market can get distracted by stuff he says. The bond market usually doesn't. And, you know, they're looking at a very slim changes in that yield rate on bonds. And 2019, they said, we think these tariffs are not a good idea, and increase the yield on bonds, and Trump had to back off. And truthfully, the bond market is really the only physical disciplinarian we have left. Nobody else is really saying, look, your debt's out of control.
But aren't yields increasing again?
Well, yield, what that means, though, that's bad.
Yes.
When yields increase, it's good for people who bought low and are selling high, but they are increasing again because, for one thing, part of what it means is there's a greater supply than demand for bonds because a lot of the world is backing away from this administration. So we're seeing people say, I'm not really sure about the U.S. You know, I remember in class, I can't remember what year it was. It'd be a better story if I remember what year, but 7 or 8 years ago, we were talking about the debt in class in China, and at the time, China owned 6.5% of our debt. And you know, I can't remember where my car is parked, but I remember what I said in class 7 or 8 years ago. And today it's like 1.5% because they've been slowly getting out of the U.S. And truthfully, people are scared of us a little bit, and there's fleeing. So there's greater supply than demand. So the Treasury Department is trying to get involved.
Yeah, and it sounds like eroding confidence in the dollar is at play here as well. What are the short-term, what are the long-term consequences of, again, the $40 trillion it's as you mentioned, it's a mark, but it's leaving a mark. What does it mean short-term? What does it mean long-term for the economy?
Well, a lot of the stuff that we're doing right now have really negative long-term effects. And I'm not trying to be political here, but when you go and alienate the Canadians just across the border.
What did you make of all that? What do you think of all that?
It's so stupid it makes my head hurt. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's just dumb. Truthfully, Canada is like 10% of what we are. So it's always kind of 10 to 1. But the crazy insults, and now today saying it's going to be Lake America instead of Lake Ontario. I grew up in Michigan. It's going to be Lake Ontario. At any rate, it's wacky, and to just alienate our friends, and you know the stuff we're going to try to do with Iran, the economic D-Day. It's unlikely that's going to work, and that's going to continue to move people away from us.
Last question. Critics are saying we're speeding toward a cliff. You agree with that?
Well, I would have thought a cliff was 20 trillion in debt. So I don't know, Ted. I mean, it seems like Uncle Sam has a really good credit card. I'll tell you that. I don't know. I mean, it's irresponsible. You know, if you look at the interest on the current debt, it's greater than the defense budget, which seems like a crazy defense budget.
Yes.
So the 1-year interest is greater than that. So, you know, you can't keep doing this. A lot of Europe has pretty high debt as well, debt to GDP, and truthfully, they're not as powerful as they used to be.
Dale Rogers, ASU economist, as we hit $40 trillion. It's good to have you here.
Good to see you.
Read Better, Be Better is a literacy program supporting students and families in nearly a dozen school districts across the valley. The after-school reading program looks to give children a sense of community, service, and love of reading. Education reporter Roxanne De La Rosa has more.
I knocked on the door.
Only about 39% of third graders in Arizona are reading proficiently, according to advocacy group Education Forward. One after-school program known as Read Better, Be Better is doing their part to help battle the state's literacy crisis. Read Better, Be Better CEO Sophie Allen Etchart founded the nonprofit after teaching literacy to children living in extreme poverty in Peru.
Then I discovered that the literacy levels here are really not dissimilar at all than had been with a really, really low income, pretty transient community that I've been working with.
The program works with low-income school districts by pairing up older students with younger students to read together. Allen Etchart shares why it was important to take action.
And so I was just curious, like how that's possible with so much resource. How is it possible that we still had fifth graders coming into our programs that really were functionally unable to read?
Third graders who aren't proficient in reading may fall behind the rest of their peers and are 4 times less likely to graduate from high school.
Natasha Edmonds noticed her son, Sean, struggled with reading. She heard about Read Better, Be Better, and decided to enroll him into the program. She shares why the program made a difference for her son.
I do think that having a peer with him, reading with him, because they communicate in different levels, whereas a parent or a teacher in a authority figure, should I say, it can almost seem like we're speaking down to them or we're not communicating in the way that they understand.
Edmonds took on a role as a program coordinator to help other schools bring Read Better, Be Better to their campuses.
As a mom, no one likes to see their child struggle, but then when they're able to overcome it, it just does something to you. And I am just so grateful for Read Better, Be Better of being a part of his life. Now he's more confident in reading. He loves it.
Her son still participates in the program, but this time, he is a leader who reads to younger children.
How I know it works because it helped me, and if I have to help a kid read a book, I could just remember what the leaders taught me when I was a reader.
He shares how it feels to read with a peer versus reading with an adult.
The adults are like, read faster, like read, and the teens or kids are like, take your time, like we have all day, like we get to read slowly, and when we read slowly we get to improve naturally.
Roxanne De La Rosa reporting for Arizona Horizon.
And we end tonight's show with the news that Dolly Parton died today. She was 80. No cause of death was given, but she had been in declining health, and her family says that she died peacefully at her home in Nashville. Dolly Parton was a force of nature, a remarkable singer, songwriter, entertainer, and entrepreneur. Her career took her from humble beginnings in East Tennessee to the unofficial title of Queen of Country Music. She wrote more than 3,000 songs over half a century career, including such hits as Jolene, Coat of Many Colors, and I Will Always Love You. She was also a beloved philanthropist. Her library program has gifted more than 300 million books to kids around the world. And her theme park in Tennessee, Dollywood, continues to be a huge success. It also encapsulates everything that was important to Dolly Parton.
I had the dream to build an area there that would provide jobs for the people, a lot of my own relatives as well and friends in that area, and people were needing a lot of work. And so Dollywood has really been great to do that and to really help the economy to grow in that whole part of the country, certainly there in the Pigeon Forge, in that mountain area there where my own folks are and where I grew up. So it was just something I wanted to do, to have my family be proud of having a park with their name on it, with my name there, and to really serve all kinds of wonderful purposes. And the whole area has really grown since Dollywood opened, and we take great pride in knowing that we might have had a little bit to do with that. There's more hotels, more restaurants, more businesses, and so it's really grown with leaps and bounds, and I just feel proud to be from that area and proud to have a business that's doing so well there.
Dolly Parton, a singular American icon, dead at the age of 80. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you.